What if the secret to keeping vegetables fresh for 6 months requires no electricity, no modern refrigerator, and was already known centuries ago? Hidden behind monastery walls, a simple technique allowed food to survive entire winters without spoiling. Today, most people believe that once vegetables are harvested, the clock starts ticking. A few days in the fridge, maybe a week if you're lucky. After that, they soften, lose flavor, and eventually end up in the trash. Modern kitchens depend on electricity, plastic packaging, and constant refrigeration just to keep food alive for a short time. But long before modern refrigerators existed, communities had to solve a much harder problem. They needed to harvest food in one season and survive the next. In colder regions, winters could last months. No fresh harvests, no grocery stores, only what had been stored. And yet, somehow, people managed. In quiet monasteries and rural villages, a surprisingly simple method allowed vegetables to stay fresh for months. Carrots stayed crisp, potatoes remained firm, cabbages lasted deep into winter. No machines, no complicated systems, just an understanding of nature that most people today have forgotten. This ancient technique is sometimes called the monk's refrigerator. It uses the natural conditions of the earth itself to slow down time for vegetables. In this video, we will uncover how this forgotten system works, why it is so effective, and how anyone today can use the same principles to store vegetables for up to 6 months. If you enjoy learning simple but powerful gardening knowledge like this, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments if you have ever tried storing vegetables long term. Because once you understand how this ancient system works, you may never look at your refrigerator the same way again. Now, to understand the monk's refrigerator, we first need to look at a problem most modern gardeners face without even realizing it. Why do vegetables spoil so quickly today, when centuries ago people could store them for an entire winter? That answer begins with a simple truth about how vegetables behave after they leave the soil. Most people think vegetables start dying the moment they are harvested, but that is not entirely true. In reality, vegetables are still alive long after they are pulled from the soil. A carrot does not suddenly become lifeless once it leaves the garden. The same is true for potatoes, onions, beets, and cabbage. Inside each vegetable, cells continue to breathe. They continue to exchange gases. They continue to slowly use the energy stored within them. This means something important. Vegetables do not simply rot. They slowly consume themselves. Imagine a carrot as a tiny storage battery built by the plant. During its time in the soil, the plant stores sugars and nutrients inside that root. Those nutrients are meant to support the plant later in its life cycle. But once the carrot is harvested, that stored energy has nowhere to go except into the slow process of decay. Temperature plays a huge role in this process. The warmer the environment, the faster vegetables breathe. The faster they breathe, the faster they burn through their stored energy. This is why vegetables spoil quickly in a warm kitchen. The heat accelerates everything. Within days, moisture begins to escape. Cells begin to weaken. The vegetable loses its firmness, its flavor, and eventually its life. Modern refrigerators slow this process down by lowering the temperature. Cold air tells vegetables to slow their breathing. This buys us a few extra days or weeks. But refrigeration has limits. A refrigerator is dry. The air constantly circulates, removing moisture from food. Over time, vegetables begin to shrivel. Leaves wilt, roots become rubbery. What was once fresh slowly becomes lifeless. And this leads to another modern problem: waste. Every year, enormous amounts of fresh vegetables are thrown away simply because they could not last long enough. The food system moves fast. Harvests are shipped long distances. Produce spends time in trucks, warehouses and store shelves before reaching our kitchens. By the time many vegetables reach the refrigerator at home, they have already lost much of their natural lifespan. But centuries ago, people faced an even greater challenge. There were no grocery stores to restock food every week. When the harvest season ended, that was it. Whatever food had been gathered had to last through the entire winter. So farmers and monks began observing nature more closely. They noticed something interesting. When vegetables were left in the ground longer, they stayed fresh far longer than when they were kept inside homes. The soil protected them from temperature swings. It kept them cool. It kept them slightly moist. In other words, the earth itself acted like a natural refrigerator. Over time, people realized they could imitate these underground conditions, even after vegetables were harvested. Instead of leaving food exposed to warm air, they could store it in environments that mimicked the soil. Cool temperatures, darkness, stable humidity. Three simple conditions that dramatically slow down the natural aging process of vegetables. This discovery changed everything. Root vegetables like carrots, potatoes, turnips, and beets could now be stored for months instead of days. Cabbages could survive deep into winter. Entire communities could rely on their harvest long after the fields were frozen. Inside monasteries, where self-sufficiency was essential, these methods became highly refined. Monks built quiet underground spaces where vegetables rested in darkness, protected from heat and dryness. These spaces worked so well that vegetables could remain fresh for half a year. But the real surprise is how incredibly simple the system actually was, because the monk's refrigerator was not a machine. It was simply a clever way of working with the natural behavior of the earth itself. And once you understand how that underground environment works, you will see that this ancient method can be recreated almost anywhere. In the next part, we will explore exactly how this natural refrigeration system works and why the soil itself may be the most efficient cooling system nature ever created. To understand the monk's refrigerator, we need to think about something most people rarely notice: the temperature of the earth beneath their feet. Above ground, temperatures constantly change. During the day, the sun heats everything. At night, the air cools down. Across seasons, the difference can be dramatic. A summer afternoon might reach extreme heat, while winter nights can drop far below freezing. But just a short distance below the surface, the story is very different. The soil acts like a giant natural shield. A few feet underground, temperatures become surprisingly stable. Heat from the sun struggles to penetrate deeply, and cold air has difficulty reaching down. As a result, the earth maintains a steady, cool environment almost all year long. In many regions, the temperature just a few feet underground stays close to what we might call perfect vegetable storage conditions: cool, dark, and stable. This is the first secret of the monk's refrigerator. The second secret is darkness. Vegetables, even after harvest, are sensitive to light. Light can trigger biological processes inside plants. For example, potatoes exposed to light begin to produce compounds that make them bitter and unsafe to eat. Onions may begin to sprout. Other vegetables slowly wake from dormancy. Darkness keeps vegetables calm. It tells them that winter has arrived. Instead of growing or changing, they remain in a resting state. This is exactly what monks and farmers wanted. The third secret is moisture. Modern refrigerators remove moisture from the air. This helps prevent mold, but causes vegetables to dry out. Over time, carrots become limp and shriveled. Leaves wilt. Root vegetables lose the crisp texture that makes them enjoyable to eat. But underground spaces naturally maintain moderate humidity. The surrounding soil holds water and releases small amounts of moisture into the air. This prevents vegetables from drying out too quickly. So the monk's refrigerator works by combining three simple forces of nature: cool temperatures that slow down biological activity, darkness that keeps vegetables dormant, gentle humidity that prevents dehydration. When these three conditions exist together, vegetables can remain alive but resting. Their breathing slows, their energy use drops, their tissues stay firm. Instead of aging quickly, they age slowly. Centuries ago, monks created special storage areas designed around these principles. Some monasteries built underground rooms carved into hillsides. Others dug deep chambers below buildings where temperatures remained constant throughout the year. But the method was not always this elaborate. Sometimes vegetables were simply placed in wooden boxes filled with sand. The sand protected them from air exposure while maintaining moisture. In other cases, vegetables were layered in straw, which allowed air circulation while preventing direct contact between them. Another common technique involved clay containers or large barrels placed in cool cellars. The thick walls of the container helped stabilize temperature while the surrounding environment maintained humidity. No electricity, no compressors, no mechanical systems, just simple materials and an understanding of how nature behaves underground. This approach allowed monks to store enormous amounts of food after the harvest season. Potatoes, carrots, turnips, onions, garlic, and cabbages could last for months. Instead of rushing to eat everything immediately, communities could rely on stored vegetables well into the coldest part of winter. In many ways, these underground storage systems were more stable than modern refrigerators. A power outage could not destroy them. A cold winter only helped them function better. What makes this even more fascinating is that the monk's refrigerator is not some lost medieval mystery. The principles behind it are still available to anyone who understands how to recreate those same conditions. And that leads to the most exciting part of this story, because with a few simple adjustments, even a small modern home or garden can create its own version of this ancient system. Now that we understand the three secrets behind the monk's refrigerator, cool temperatures, darkness, and gentle humidity, the next question becomes obvious. Can someone today actually recreate this system at home? The answer is yes, and the surprising part is that it does not require expensive tools, complicated construction, or a large piece of land. The real key is simply understanding which vegetables store well and how to create the right environment for them. The first step is choosing the right types of vegetables. Not all vegetables are built for long storage. Soft vegetables with high water content, like tomatoes or cucumbers, spoil quickly no matter where they are kept. They were never meant to last long after harvest. But many root vegetables are naturally designed to survive long periods underground. In nature, these plants store energy in their roots so they can regrow later. That means the root itself is built to remain alive for months. Some of the best vegetables for long storage include carrots, potatoes, beets, turnips, parsnips, onions, garlic, and cabbage. These plants evolved to handle cold soil and slow growth during winter. When stored properly, they can remain fresh far longer than most people expect. The second step is avoiding one common modern mistake. Many gardeners wash vegetables immediately after harvest. While this seems clean and practical, it actually shortens their storage life. Washing removes the thin protective layer of soil that helps preserve moisture and protect the skin. For long storage, vegetables should be gently brushed clean rather than washed. The goal is to remove large clumps of dirt while leaving the outer skin intact and dry. The third step is creating a cool storage space. This does not necessarily mean digging a large underground room. Even a small basement corner, a shaded garage area, or a protected outdoor box can work if the conditions remain cool and stable. Some people create simple storage boxes filled with sand or sawdust. Vegetables are placed inside the material so they are not touching each other directly. The sand helps maintain humidity while protecting them from sudden temperature changes. Others build small wooden crates and store them in the coolest part of the house. The key is to keep vegetables away from warm kitchens, sunlight and dry air. In colder regions, an even simpler method exists. A small outdoor root pit can be created by digging a shallow hole in the ground. The vegetables are placed inside containers, covered with straw, and then lightly buried with soil. This mimics the exact environment that vegetables experience while growing. The earth naturally regulates temperature, preventing the vegetables from freezing while keeping them cool enough to slow down decay. Ventilation also plays an important role. While vegetables need humidity, they also need small amounts of fresh air. Completely sealed containers can trap gases released during respiration, which speeds up spoilage. This is why traditional storage boxes often include small air gaps or breathable materials like wood and straw. Once everything is in place, something remarkable happens. Time seems to slow down. Carrots that might normally last 2 weeks in a kitchen drawer can remain crisp for months. Potatoes stay firm. Onions remain dry and flavorful. Cabbages keep their tight structure long after the garden has gone quiet for the winter. This method does not fight nature. It works with it. Instead of forcing vegetables into artificial environments, the monk's refrigerator recreates the conditions they already understand from the soil itself. And once gardeners rediscover this simple system, they begin to realize something powerful. Food does not have to be rushed from harvest to plate. With the right knowledge, the garden can continue feeding you long after the growing season has ended. And this realization leads to a deeper lesson about how people once lived with nature rather than trying to control it. Because sometimes the smartest technology is simply remembering what the earth already knows how to do. Now that we have uncovered how the monk's refrigerator works, there is one final insight that ties everything together, and it may completely change the way you think about storing food. If you step back and look at this ancient method, one thing becomes clear. The monk's refrigerator was never really about building something new. It was about paying attention to what nature was already doing. Beneath the surface of the earth, a quiet balance exists. The soil protects life from extreme heat, from sudden cold, and from the drying winds above. For thousands of years, plants have trusted this underground environment to preserve their energy and help them survive long winters. What monks and farmers discovered was simply how to borrow that same protection after harvest. Instead of fighting nature with complicated tools, they worked with the rhythms of the earth. Cool temperatures slowed the aging process. Darkness kept vegetables dormant. Gentle moisture prevented them from drying out. 3 simple conditions that turned the ground itself into a natural refrigerator. And the result was something remarkable. A harvest gathered in autumn could still be feeding people deep into winter. Carrots stayed crisp. Potatoes remained firm. Cabbages waited patiently in the dark until the moment they were needed. No electricity, no machines, no constant energy consumption, just knowledge. In many ways, this forgotten system reminds us that the most powerful technologies are sometimes the simplest ones. Modern life has made us dependent on artificial solutions for problems that were once solved with observation and patience. But the wisdom of older methods is still there, waiting to be rediscovered. Anyone with a garden, a cool space, or even a small patch of soil can apply these same ideas today. And when you do, something interesting happens. Your relationship with food begins to change. Harvest no longer feels like a race against time. The garden becomes something that continues providing long after the growing season ends. The monk's refrigerator is not just a clever storage trick. It is a reminder that nature already holds many of the answers we are searching for. Sometimes, the future of gardening is simply hidden in the past. If you enjoyed discovering this forgotten technique, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share in the comments if you have ever tried storing vegetables long-term. Your experience might help someone else learn a new way to make their harvest last longer. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden gardening wisdom like this, there are many more fascinating techniques waiting to be explored.